Whether your family was loud and cruel or quiet in a way you could never quite put into words, in this video we're talking about why people from normal families will never fully understand you. The things they can't see in you started in your childhood, and they are still shaping your adult life today. I'm Jerry Wise, and for over 45 years, I've helped hundreds of thousands of people heal and get their families out of them by practicing self-differentiation, the process of becoming your true self and releasing the false self you were trained to be in your family of origin, so that you can finally experience clarity, peace, and a lasting freedom. Let me walk you through 10 of these beliefs, traits, or experiences that others just don't understand. And if you've spent your life feeling like you have to translate yourself to people who just don't get it, I think these are going to make sense to you. Number 1, people from normal or healthy families call you lucky that your parents are still alive and you still have your parents. They say it like it's the kindest thing in the world, and that I should feel so lucky that that's the truth. At least you still have your mom. At least your dad is still there or here, and you smile and you nod, because there's no way to explain that a living parent has never been a great thing for you. You grew up learning that being close to them came with a cost, a big cost, and that their love and their harm came through the same door. So when someone calls you lucky, you don't argue with them. Something just goes quiet inside you because they're describing a gift you never quite got to have or experience. What you carry is a loss that has no funeral, and almost no one in your life knows it's there. Number 2, nobody from a normal family flinches when their parent's name lights up on the phone. You grew up reading your parents' moods before you read almost anything else. You learn to listen for the tone of voice, the length of a pause, the way a door closed down the hall, because reading it early was how you got ahead of whatever was coming. Now you're a grown adult, and the name lights up on your phone, and something in you tightens before you have even opened the message. That pull you feel is what I call the emotional Wi-Fi, the invisible signal that still runs through you and your family long after you have left the house. You're not back in that home anymore, I know that, but the signal still reaches you and your body still answers it in the way it always did. Number 3, well, just talk to your family is the most useless advice a normal family person ever gave you. Or, everybody in your life has offered you some version of this. Well, just talk to them. Well, just tell them how you really feel. Just sit down like two adults and work it out. Sometimes we just have to compromise with our families and just have to learn to get along. And every time you nod and let it go, because explaining why it won't work is more exhausting than carrying it alone. The people who give you that advice grew up somewhere that talking actually led somewhere. In their home, saying, "You hurt me," was met with, "Well, I'm sorry. What did I do? I didn't mean to do that. I am sorry." Not with, "After everything I've done for you and you're going to say I hurt you." They are handing you a tool that worked beautifully in their family, never realizing it was built for a completely different kind of house than the one you grew up in. So you stop bringing it up. You learn to manage it quietly instead, because in your family, opening up was never a beginning of repair. It was something that got remembered and used against you later. Number 4, watch someone from a healthy home set a boundary of no, and they don't write 3 drafts of it to try to explain. For them, setting a limit is one sentence and they move on. It might even be one word, which is no. They might say, "No, sorry, that doesn't work for me." But it has never been that simple for you. You write it out, then you soften it, then you add a reason, and then another reason why you need to set that boundary, and you debate the part that sounds too harsh, and by the time you finally send it, you have apologized twice for something you had every right to say in the first place. That careful, padded, over-explained way of saying no is something you built on purpose a long time ago. As a child, a plain no was dangerous. It got you punished or guilted or told you were being cruel and selfish. So you learn to wrap it in enough softness that it might not cost you anything. You are still wrapping it today, long after anyone is making you pay for it. Number 5, to a normal family, a healthy family, calm is restful. To you, calm is the warning before the storm. You learn to listen to a quiet house the way other people listen for a smoke alarm. When things finally went still, you didn't sink into it and relax. You got sharp and you were ready because in your home, quiet was never the same thing as peace. It was the held breath before the next thing happened. And you had learned the hard way, and more than once, what usually came after it. So even now, when your life is genuinely calm, you have a hard time trusting it, relaxing, and having peace. You keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. The quiet you longed for your whole childhood is finally here, and you still can't let yourself rest in it. Number 6, your friends from normal families can't grasp why therapy makes you feel guilty. To them, working on yourself is obviously a good thing. Many people go to therapy these days and coaching. Why they can't understand why anyone would feel bad about it, they wonder. But you do. You sit in that first session and feel like a traitor, like you're doing something disloyal just by saying your family's name out loud in the room. That guilt didn't appear out of nowhere. You were raised on an unspoken rule that what happened in the family stayed in the family, and that looking at it too honestly was a kind of betrayal of the people who raised you and gave you everything. Or that saying to someone things that your family were not healthy, you believe shames you and your family. So even now, the simple act of taking care of yourself can feel like turning your back on them. The guilt you feel for healing was never yours to carry. It belonged to the people who needed you to stay quiet, and somewhere along the way, they handed you the bill for it. Number 7, people from normal or healthy families wear their own name. You still are stuck with your family's label for you. In your family, you were handed a role long before you ever got to decide who you actually were. And oftentimes, we may not discover that till long who we are in our adult life, and for many, if ever. They never called it a role, they just called it who you were. The sensitive one, the dramatic one, the difficult one, the one who always made everything harder than it needed to be, the undependable one, the one who always gets into trouble. Of course, there may have been incidents that aligned with this role, as can be true with almost anyone's childhood. But you really did not earn any of those labels. They were placed on you because the family system needed someone to carry them. And for whatever reason, you were the one who got chosen. The hard part is that you half believe these roles. You have spent years of your adult life quietly wondering whether you really are too much, too sensitive, too difficult, too dumb, too unlovable. But that was never really you. It was the job they needed filled in this dysfunctional system, and you have been doing it so long, you mistook it for your own self. I know years ago when I worked with families who had children who were in school, the one thing I helped them work on, which was so important, if their child had become the problem one in the class, and the teacher saw them that way, and the other kids saw them that way, then we needed to break that role, because if you don't, people just assume that's who that child is. And so we worked hard to break in a systems way, in a systems thinking approach, to change that role to something different. Because once you become the problem kid in the class, it is very hard to outlive that, as many of you may realize, or even your own children may realize. Number 8, someone raised in a healthy family set a boundary and simply expects it to hold. When they draw a line, they assume it will be respected and then go on about their day. They don't sit there bracing for what might be coming. You do. You set the boundary, and then you wait for the cold shoulder, the guilt trip, the slow campaign to make you a villain for having a limit at all, and you expect layers of resistance. That bracing is not a quirk of your personality. Growing up, every time you tried to protect yourself or to own your own life in some way, there was a price you had to pay. Whether it was punishment, pressure, shame, or dazed of being made to feel you had done something unforgivable. So the limit and the fear and the fallout grew up together in you, and they still arrive hand in hand today. Number 9. No one with normal parents turns back into a child the moment they walk into a family dinner. Picture the drive over to your family or your parents' home. You're calm in the car and an adult with your own life, maybe your own kids in the back seat. Then you pull into the driveway, you walk through the front door, and within about 10 minutes, you have become someone smaller. You're quieter. You're watching every word, you're managing the moods in the room, and bracing for the comment you already know is coming. Your nervous system memorized that house a very long time ago, and it still runs the old program the moment you step back inside it. And it could be stepping back inside the family, not just the house. You can be competent and steady everywhere in your life and still walk into your parents' home and feel 10 years old again. The grown version of you that you worked so hard to build often has to wait out on the porch. The adult child of a more healthy family feels more self-differentiated within the family. They realize they are the biological child of caring parents or these parents in the family, but they do not need to act or feel like a child in their presence. They are not infantilized or childized, as I might mention. And families many times will require that when you come home. Well, you're still my baby, so I don't have to respect your privacy. I don't have to respect you even. That's infantilizing. That's childizing. And it can be very problematic for many people who grew up in difficult, narcissistic, or dysfunctional homes. Number 10, people from normal families never had to grieve a parent who is still alive. This is the one almost no one outside of it understands. You are not grieving a death. There was no funeral, no flowers on the doorstep, no one stopping by to check on you. You are grieving the parent you needed and never actually got, while the same parent is still alive, still texting you, still showing up at the holidays, as though nothing at all is missing or wrong. You find yourself mourning the mother who could never quite see you, the father who never felt safe, the childhood that should have been yours and never was. And you do all of it quietly, on your own, because the world only knows how to grieve the people who have died. Here is what I most want you to hear. That grief is real, and letting yourself feel it is not a betrayal of anyone. It's the thing that finally lets you stop wanting for them to become parents they never were going to be or could become. You don't need the people from normal families to understand this loss, and you don't need your family to understand it either. The work was never to make them understand. The work is to stop abandoning yourself while you carry what they couldn't give you. If you're asking, well, so what do I do now? And many times people will comment on the videos and say, what do I do now? Which I understand. I have personal coaching available. You can do that online and schedule 1 session or 10 sessions. And I truly believe 1 session can do a lot. 10 sessions can do a whole lot. I have 1,500 videos free on YouTube. I have a reading list on my website and many other ways to get help to invest in your own healing and recovery. Just because someone from a healthier family would not understand your emotional life and your experiences does not mean you are defective, unlovable, or less than those who grew up in a healthier home. Actually, it often provides for more wisdom, greater empathy, strength, and confidence once we begin the journey of self-differentiation and recovery. If you join the affordable Road to Self program, you will find a community of people who understand you. If you're ready to finally break free and start living with clarity, peace, and a grounded connection to your true self, then join the Road to Self program. Many who have joined say it was the missing piece in their healing journey, the step that finally helped them get their family out of them and stand strong as their true self. If you're not sure if you're ready for the Road to Self program, then start with my free 84-minute self-differentiation training. Over 50,000 people have joined the free training as their first step. Click the links in the description to get started. Please comment on this video. I read the comments on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll never miss a new video. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day and be wise.